we had downtown what was called the Uptown Downtown Association. And that was created by Terry Ackerman, Paul, myself, and the two new owners of Port City who just opened that up, John Sinclair and Damon Graff. And just about every Saturday, we would have a meeting in the morning before Port City opened and talk about what could we do to help revitalize downtown. And again, remember, this is prior to Main Street, prior to the city doing anything downtown. Through the association, we raised money to repave the parking lot in front of the lofts, the entire parking lot, repave it and restripe it, as well as the parking lot up on 7th Street. That was just one of a number of things that we did. Now, when Main Street was created, Paul was one of the founding members of the board of directors. And so we never did incorporate Uptown Downtown. It was never a legal 501c3. So there wasn't anything really to close down except what monies we had left over, we contributed to Main Street. So now fast forward, this is in the period, I guess, 2004 to 2007, in that range. Paul passed away in March of 2009, and I had the unfortunate task of having to close down the Emporium at Portsmouth. That was his baby. We loved that shop. It was the largest antique mall in Southern California at the time. And we had a gorgeous loft upstairs. And we had fun there. We had hosted a lot of benefits and that kind of thing. But when he passed, that wasn't my business, that was his. So I had to close it down. But at the same time, I made a modestly sizable contribution to Main Street in Paul's name, and discussed with him at the time setting up a separate fund that would be totally for the beautification of downtown Portsmouth. The monies could not be used for anything else. The agreement is that of the monies raised, 10% goes to Main Street for administration, 90% goes outside and to Sue Burke's committee, the design committee, for plants, for the hanging baskets that you see, the plants in the parking lots, the plants at City Hall, the plants in the urns along the flood wall, the new plants and new trees at Alexandria Park, the cleanup of Tracy Park. I mean, just incredible stuff that Sue's been able to do. Now, since the past couple of years, the city has contributed $15,000 to her committee. And she'll be the first to tell you that's not near enough. And Paul's fund really helps supplement what the city does. And in 10 years, the fund, we've raised right about $100,000. We're averaging about $10,000 a year. And that makes a huge difference for her committee. Paul had this vision for downtown. He moved away from here. He was born here, graduated from Northwest. And then he moved to Columbus to go to college. He went to Matta College to get his degree in computer science, and then moved to San Francisco. And that's where I met him. And he was my life partner for over 30 years. It was wonderful. Anyway, he brought me to Portsmouth. And I'm a Fairmont, West Virginia boy. I never thought I would ever return to Appalachia, but I did with him. And he wanted to come back home to open up an antique store. That's been a dream of his forever. And so we did, and we developed an antique mall. He got involved not only with the Uptown Downtown Association, but also Main Street. His focus and what he tried to get other people to focus on is that Portsmouth is the living room for Sauter County. It's the first place somebody comes in when they come to Sauter County. And like your home, when you invite people over, the first place they come into is your living room. You always, always keep that living room spotless and clean and ready for guests. Your bedroom door you might close because, if it's like my bedroom, you don't want other people sitting in. But your living room, that's critical. And that introduces people to your community, that living room, that downtown Portsmouth. He was so focused on the fact that when we moved here in May of 2002, downtown was dead. It wasn't pretty. There were no flowers. It was like a malaise had draped itself over the city of Portsmouth. We were also shocked to a certain extent that the Portsmouth Daily Times had this glorious editorial on their editorial page about a new business opening up downtown. Like, doesn't this ever happen before, And evidently not. So since we opened that in 2002, we've seen, especially 2nd Street, just blossom and bloom. But it's taken people, Main Street and Friends of Portsmouth and many other individuals and groups to make all this happen. It just doesn't do it by itself. It takes hard work, hard energy, and that's exactly what Paul knew had to come about if we were going to be a beautiful living room for Sauter County. And it's happening. I am so proud of the people who have made Portsmouth what it is today. And there's a good reason why Portsmouth, for the second time in its history, just recently was named an All-American City. A lot of people worked to make sure that happened, and we were recognized nationally as a city on the move, and that's exciting. And I'm personally very proud that Paul's a small part of that. I'm so delighted that we're having it at the Lofts this year because everything that the two Terrys have done for the Lofts, especially the outside tent and expanding where people can move around, and it's just phenomenal. I'm a coffee fanatic. I love good coffee. And a big chunk of my entertainment money goes to cappuccino in the morning. So I'm delighted that this year's Paul E. Johnson Memorial Fundraiser and Soiree is being held at the Lofts.